which means boys and girls. It's as much your country as it is mine. And now, boys and girls, let me hear you recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Since I was a small boy, 2 states have been added to our country, and 2 words have been added to the Pledge of Allegiance: under God. Wouldn't it be a pity if someone said that is a prayer and that would be eliminated from schools too?
Thank you, Mr. Shattuck. Much appreciated. Diana, why? I think you've got the Rotary Minute today.
I'm hanging around long enough to see who gets Brooke Shields.
Good morning. For the Rotary Minute, I wanted us to take some time to reflect on 2 of the most visible and well-known symbols of Rotary. The first one is the Rotary motto, and the second is the Rotary logo. Let's go back to the Rotary motto for just a second. The Rotary motto is service above self. I'm going to suggest that that's a bit of a misnomer, and I'd like to rename it service and self. And I'll share with you why. A lot of times as we're talking about Rotary, we talk about how Rotary changes lives. And we can find examples in the 4 corners of the world about how lives are changed by Rotary. I would like to suggest that the most important life that's changed by Rotary is our own. And I want to share with you just a little story about how my life was changed by Rotary. So in a previous life, I was a member of a different Rotary club, and we had a project called the Dictionary Project. In the Dictionary Project, we distributed 3,000 dictionaries to 3rd graders in the Aurora area. So I'm going out, and I am with the chief of police, and we're in a 3rd grade community in Aurora, and we walk in, we're introduced, and the chief of police is introduced, and the kids are just like, oh, wow, oh, my God, look at his gun, look at his badge, and they were just so proud. All of a sudden, in the back of the room, when I'm introduced, I hear this little voice say, hi, Grandma. It was my grandson who was in that 3rd grade class, and I didn't even realize that that was his school or his class. I say that because at that moment, I was so proud, and my heart was so full of love for Rotary, because that young man learned that day the power of Rotary through the service of his family. So having said that, I then want to, and I'm sure that we all have those stories in our hearts where Rotary has changed our lives. I would like for us, as we look at the Rotary logo, to realize that it's a circle. And that circle does reflect ourselves. It reflects our minds, where we start, and we go around that wheel, and we wind up in our hearts. So as you're sharing your Rotary stories, I would suggest that we all find that personal story that we can relate to other people that really reflects how Rotary is truly in our hearts. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Diana. I want to take a quick minute to thank Dr. Paul for setting up this morning for Angie O'Seeley. And then Jessica Reagan, who is not here, will be here to take down. She's in an early morning meeting, but she'll sneak in just in time to take down. We did a great job on group greeting this morning, and Mr. Shattuck, thank you so much for the pledge. Visiting Rotarians, I can't see it. There he is. Mr. Shaw's in the back.
Yes, hi, morning, everybody. My name is Fred Shaw. I'm a member of Denver Southeast Rotary. My classification is banking. And good to see a few familiar faces here. And I don't want you to hold against me that I know Mark Yale really well. But anyway, thanks for having me here. And always a pleasure to come
Thanks for visiting, and we do have a membership transfer form should you want to do that. And then we've got a couple visitors. Sharon Williams, did I get that right?
Yes.
Back here in the back. Stand up and say hi and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Sharon Williams, and I'm in the insurance industry with Allstate Insurance. I opened the agency last year and met Alan at a golf tournament last week, and he invited me to your meeting.
Super.
It's nice to be here.
Thanks for coming. And then John Bellman, do I have the last right? He's back again for the second time, and I've heard a rumor.
He is the greatest. That's to be wrong. I am transferring, so yes, I'm giving you transfer information from the Aurora Lunch Rotary. So I'm president at Beyond Campus Innovations. It's kind of an education provider here in the South Metro area. So looking forward to becoming a member.
Great. Tripp, that's your cue. Don't let him out of the room without the requisite paperwork. Just saying. Got a few birthdays this week. El Vaderot, one of our millennials, on the 15th. Alan Jackson, 18th. Is that your birthday? Yep. Same day as my son's birthday, I'll have you know, so I'll remember that. And then Barbara Buck on June 13th. Mr. Peterson, what else is going on the 15th?
Dun, dun, dun. 45 years, the woman's the same.
Yes, she is. Congratulations, 45 years, John and Karen Peterson on the 15th. As you know, we did the summer kickoff this weekend, did beer sales. It was a little slow, but Parker Days was going on, and I think the city of Littleton had something going on. We don't have final numbers, but earnings probably between 1,000 and 2,000, somewhere in that range. The next beer sale event will be the Brew and Q on July 14th between about 3 and 8 o'clock, unless you're doing setup, in which case I think the setup people are there at around 2. I think I saw Jess, there she is. Give us a blessing bag recap. I know you weren't there, but I think you can grab a mic, stand up.
Who were there. For those of you who are new or visiting, I will talk quickly about what blessing bags are. They are these, which are really wonderful, because what you can do and what you will be able to do today is to take a bunch of these and put them in your car. So when you are stopped at stop signs or stoplights and there's somebody a little less fortunate asking for money or help, you can bless them by giving them this bag. We've been working on this for quite a few months. So we got all of the items, and then this past Saturday, this is where I didn't attend, but who did attend the assembly, first of all? Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Can I just, yay, give yourselves a round of applause for doing that. So this past Saturday, everyone assembled the bags, and here they all are for you to take today, which is really exciting. So this was a really exciting effort. We'll do some reflections and see if it's worth doing maybe the next season, the fall and winter seasons, but this is such an easy way to give back to people in our community and truly meet them at their point of need. So if you did participate in any part of the blessing bag experience, thank you so much.
Right.
Yes. Okay, so there are quite a few things. I'll talk to you about the millennials as well as what's in here. Just some essentials. We did a lot of research about what would be useful to that community. So there's some food, tissues, like clean wipes, blankets, chapstick, a whole bunch of things, as well as a list of resources, community resources, that those individuals could partake in if they choose. The millennials were also really excited about helping with us. So we are giving a bag, or we already gave 100 bags to them, and then this Wednesday or Thursday? Thursday the 14th, they are actually distributing the bags in their local, I forget what do you have the address on?
The Mockery Brewery at 3501 Delganey Street at 7 o'clock.
Yes, those are the details. So thank you, it's on the website. If you just cannot get enough of the blessing bags, then that is a great thing to participate in. Plus, it starts at a brewery. I don't know, I said this last time, but blessing bags and brewery, maybe we're making it work somehow. But yes.
I just want everybody to know that I mentioned the blessing bags to my office. We have 20 people, and Trilogy wants to sponsor this program as well. So we would love to take bags and disseminate them through all our advisors and have them put it out for Rotary.
Well, that means we'll probably do it again, so that's exciting. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you offline.
Great. Thanks, Jessica. Much appreciated. June 14th, what else is happening, Barb Medina?
Well, June 14th is a business after hours at my office. I'm just a couple miles from here in the Inverness Business Park. So everybody's welcome, and it's from 5 to 7. And if you want to leave at 6:30 so you can get down to the brewery and help the millennials, that works too. So we'll have hors d'oeuvres and wine and water and good times.
Great. Thanks, Barb. That's a great idea. I wanted to do both, and I think that works out perfectly. So I think I'm going to go to Barb's first and then head down to Mockery Brewery as well. Sure. And you know how accurate my RSVPs are most of the time. And then just a reminder on Changing of the Guard, June 23rd, 5 o'clock at Barb Medina's house down on Castle Rock. We'll get you that address. I think she has sign-up sheets on all the tables, so if you could, just so we can get an accurate count on food. But pulled pork again this year and some stuff from, is it Bennett's that we're getting? Yeah. Bennett's Barbecue?
We're going to get the food from Bennett's. So I'm working yesterday, and Bennett's calls me up, and they say, "Oh, so, you know, last year you ordered some food." I said, "Oh, I was going to call you tomorrow." So anyway, I'm going to make a salad. I'll have pulled pork, and I'll have coleslaw and potato salad, but there's no like green salad. And if you're a vegetarian, maybe you have a good dish you can bring. And if anybody wants to bring appetizers, you can do that too. Other than that, I'll provide everything else. Well, the club will.
How about desserts?
Part of the Bennett's thing is brownies and cookies. So the what? Wine. Well, you bring your own wine. Yes. So anyway, so salads and appetizers if you want, but I don't need everybody to bring something. So. Okay,
great. Phil always carries his own wine with him. So. Very good. Does anybody else have any announcements that they need to make? No, we're moving right along. Sheriff Dave, would you like to do Happy Bucks? Oh, travel gifts first. Nobody came by and said they had them. Who's got travel gifts?
I said travel gifts.
Kathy Smith, we'll start with you.
Yes. Oh, yes. I went to Italy recently, and I just got my shipment. I have a nice bottle of Brunello Montesino. Yep, and it's really good with chocolate. I can't stress enough.
It doesn't travel well, so...
No.
I noticed my lovely wife looking longingly at that bottle as you held it up.
It was. Somehow you have an inside track on another bottle, I think. And then I went to Alaska, and I brought back a little knife from Alaska, so those are my gifts.
Ms. Zing, you have a travel gift?
Can't beat that. So I went to a lot of places. I went to Moab with my family and then through Arizona, which is my home state. And I stopped at the Navajo reservation. So I've got some Navajo tea. If you're familiar with Navajo tea, it's very, very soothing. Makes you feel really, really good. I also got a jar of jalapeno jelly. So, yuck. But somebody here is going to like that.
That's okay. A ringing endorsement for that travel gift.
Yeah, there's one thing I always promise you, I'll speak my mind. Then I got a little cute pink dream catcher keychain for whomever. And then I got a really pretty, on Highway 89 goes literally right through the Navajo reservation, and that's where you buy your jewelry because it's cheaper, better, right from the Indians. So I bought a really pretty black stoned bracelet that can be a gift. And then was thinking of all the guys here, and I brought the strawberry flavored scorpion sucker. So those are my gifts.
All right. Roxy?
I went to Spokane for my dad's birthday
Could you grab a mic, please?
Microphone. I went to Spokane for my great Uncle Bob's 100th birthday. There are originally 12 siblings, of which my grandfather is the second oldest, and he's gone. But there are 5 of them left, and there were 41 first cousins there, in addition to the 5 remaining siblings. Anyway, I brought back a really cool hiking hat, and it's really nice. It was extremely expensive. And I went to one of those, it was actually, you know how you go to airport shops because you don't have a gift, and there's hardly anything? Well, there was this thing, and it was awesome.
Mr. Shattuck, that has your name all over it, by the way.
Oh, the stick is from my last trip, and Ann wasn't here to give it to me.
Walking stick.
You have a theme going there.
You do. Any other travel gifts? Flexter.
Okay, I was in the Tetons in Yellowstone last week, and one of the stops that we made in Jackson Hole was the Thomas Mingleson Gallery, which recently you might have seen him on 60 Minutes. He was with what's her name, Jane Goodall, and they were there was a whole segment on his photography. So anyway, he's world famous, and his most famous picture is probably the bear in Alaska with the mouth open, and the salmon looks like he's jumping into it. So anyway, it's that guy. And so I brought back this book about cougars, which are very elusive and difficult to photograph. So
Very nice.
Got a whole bunch of them there.
Right. Great. Did you see any bears?
Yeah.
All right.
I had an encounter.
You didn't try and feed the bear, did you?
I didn't feed it.
Okay.
I had an encounter on the trail.
All right. Good.
I tried to take a selfie with That is a true story. Somebody took a selfie with a bear. That's right.
Yeah.
Did not survive, but
Did not end well. Any other travel gifts? Now, Sheriff Dave. Sorry I got you up early.
Hey, that's all right. Hey, it's Happy Bucks Day, and you know when it's Happy Bucks and I do it, I wear a uniform, right? Right. and by the way, the crime of robbery says something to the effect of by threat, force, or intimidation, take something of value from another. I'm not threatening or anything like that. There's no robbery. And Roxy, when I saw you walking with the stick, I'm thinking, who are you going to swing that at? And I couldn't wait. I've got 5 today, right off the bat. First, if you look in here, this picture of Paul.
yes.
This $1 is for that. You got to get happier. I'm just telling you. So anyway, and then 2 for all of our guests, and then another 2 for my very good friend and guest, Chief Jerry Rhodes here. So Jerry, it's nice to have you here. So let's start right here. What do we have?
Oh, he is armed.
We have an IOU. Here.
Thank you. I have to say 45 years of wedded bliss makes me very happy.
Aww.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Anyone else at this table? Hey, can I still buy blue marbles, Don?
No.
Oh.
I'll get you tickets. This is my happy buck. I have not known John and Karen Peterson for all those 45 years, but for very many of them, and count them as dear friends.
Beautiful.
Aww.
Beautiful. Anybody else here? All right, we're going to go this way. Anybody at this table? I see some money laying out.
Just happy to be here.
And that was $5 happy to be here.
I have two. One is for John Peterson and his wife, 45 years. We're getting there. Not quite there yet, though. And one for our transferee. Thank you for coming to the best Rotary in Rotary.
I have 5, and the first one is for the anniversary happy anniversary to John and Karen. And then for our guests and our speaker. And also for the 100th birthday party that I went to. And just one other thing about him is he came here 2 years ago when he was 98. He drove by himself from Spokane to visit to visit my mother in Fort Collins. And then after that trip, he went by himself down the Amazon on an Amazon cruise. And right now he's planning a cruise down the Danube for his 100th year. So I hope have as much energy and am as active as he is. He's amazing. All he's got is hearing aids. Otherwise, he's really healthy. And it's Tuesday, and I'm at Rotary.
Thank you. Mark?
I have two. One is for Sharon here. Alan, thank you for bringing a guest and all the other guests today. And then the other is for Chief Rhodes, who looks remarkably like my favorite president.
One to help cheer Paul up as well. So.
Good morning. I have one for it's election time, so get your ballots in. So if you haven't received your ballot by mail, you can go online and track it to make sure. And I'm very fortunate I was able to vote for Sheriff Welcher, and it wasn't too hard since there was no one else on there. But.
on that side.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
I have two. One for the Jessicas for heading up the Blessing Bag Committee, as well as Jay, who did a great job herding cats Saturday morning. And the second one is to the new co-captains of the beer event, Sarah and Eric Nielsen, who did a great job. Great. Thank you.
I have one because I wanted to thank Barb and Samantha for having this business mixer. I think this is a great idea. I hope everybody will support them however they can. Thanks.
I have one. I'm happy today. I get to go to a second Rotary Club meeting at noon. Denver Tech Center is helping us fund the wells in Madagascar, so I'm going to go give them a program and an update about what's going on there.
Thank you. Let's come over here.
Mr. McCarty, come see me after the meeting about that, just so you know.
All right, I have three. The first one is last week was my parents' 50th anniversary, and anyone who knows my parents would be as equally shocked as I am that they made it. But we are happy about that. No, but sorta. Anyway, but they did make it, and of course I'm very happy about that. The next one is I was sort of lamenting Saturday morning that I signed up for both the blessing bags and the beer event, but I have to say that was the best day of the weekend. Hanging out with my fellow Rotarians was excellent and fun throughout. So, and last but not least, I am going on vacation on Friday for 2 full weeks. So I'm pretty excited. No camping!
Thank you. Anyone else at this table? All right. Over here. Is that money for me? Okay.
You know who he is?
Yeah, that's why it's for him. He's got a gun. I don't. My wife, as you all know, had breast cancer surgery last week, and I went to a meeting after I brought her home, and I thought I'd check up on her, so I went back home, and she wasn't in bed. She was out in the yard watering. So I'm so happy. And thank you for coming, all you guests, and enjoyed. That was fantastic.
John, we are happy for you.
I've got 5. One is this is my busiest month of work, and so I'm happy to be here today, although I have to apologize to our speaker. I do have to leave early to get to work. And I do have a travel gift, but I forgot that I had a travel gift, but Anne's got too much to carry home anyway, so it's a good thing. I'll bring it next time. The second is for our guests and our visitors today. Thank you for joining us. The third is I agree with Randy that Saturday was a great day. I also did blessing bags and the beer event, and Eric and Sarah did a fantastic job with the beer event. Looking forward to more of those. The barbecue one that's coming up next month is a great one, so I encourage everybody to consider working on that one. The other two are left over from last week, since I wasn't here last week. One is that Martin Truex won a race. Not this past Sunday, he didn't do very good, but the week before he won, so that was great. And then on that Friday, I had taken the day off from work because it wasn't quite June yet, so I wasn't too busy. And I spent the whole day with the kids from my previous CASA case. So I got to see them and spend a whole day with them. They're doing great, and we had a really fun day.
Thank you.
Just happy. Thank you.
Wait, say it 5 times, though.
Oh, happy.
Perfect. All right. Is that for me?
So one is for the blessing bags. It was a blast, especially since I got to sneak around in Jessica's house finding boxes. Weren't sure. I think we took all the right ones and left the wrong ones there, but. But it was a great time, and it does remind you just kind of why you love this club. And the second thing is that it's summertime, and I'm engaged to a guy with a Jeep that goes naked, and so I'm having fun driving around in his Jeep while he's out of town with the top off. So,
Does he know you're driving around in his Jeep?
I would think you'd say that after you got married. I don't know.
I have one. 18 years ago, I'm going to cry. This is unusual. 18 years ago, we had adopted our daughter. And this last week, I forgot that it was the anniversary of her adoption. So on Sunday, we got out of the heat and went up to Guanella Pass, which, by the way, if you haven't been up there, it's now paved, so it's not nearly as dusty and dirty as it used to be. And it just got cool for a change.
Yes, this is for John. Yeah, for John. 1972, when I just opened up practice, I met his wife, Karen. And through that, we have gotten to become very well acquainted with John. So congratulations, John. The second one is an intimidation, Buck. Thank you.
That's awesome. I ask us all to vote to have you wear a pink tutu and a lampshade the next time you do Happy Bus. There's a lot less intimidation.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'll do it.
Great. What am I going to give them? I don't know. Okay. I'll give you $100 if you wear a pink tutu. Yeah. And then you have to turn around and give the $100 to Rotary, though. All right, done. Yay. My happy bucks, number one, my son finally has his driver's license. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. That's awesome. No, he's a good driver. Number two, I'm just so happy for our guests to be here, and John, that you made a good decision. So that's awesome. Number three, all of the projects that we're working on. I just want to thank everybody who put so much time and energy. I missed Saturday. It was my last day with my son before he took off for a 21-day Boy Scout rafting, hiking, everything trip. So I wanted to see him. He's only one project away from his Eagle Scout, so that's going to be good. And yeah. So I have a client that several years ago I told you they had triplets. She gave birth to another set of triplets. So they said they wanted 4 kids or so, and they had to have help. So when they did IV before, they got 3, and then they got 3 this time. And I'm like, are you done? So she has 5 boys and 1 girl. So
I have $5. I didn't help this weekend because I was celebrating my birthday with my kids. We had a family sleepover. Everybody came over. We played lots of games and cards and had a good time. So.
Thank you.
So I'm kind of cheap. I have 1, but I'm going to squeeze 2 in on this one. So number 1, but pandering to the crowd. This is I'm happy that I found a new Rotary Club, so that's going to be awesome in my kind of hometown. And 2, I'm happy. One of my old National Guard buddies and Boy Scout buddies, a police officer in my hometown, was shot on Thursday serving a warrant. and air vac into Omaha, but he's in stable condition, and so should be okay.
Thank you.
Well, thought I'd open my billfold and find $1, and I didn't. So the jaws of life did find a $5 bill in there. God, that hurts. But it's worth it, because I'm not going to be here for the changing of the guard. But the $5 is just to tell John Berry what a great job I think he's done for the year as our president.
Thank you. Now I'm blushing.
I admire your honesty. Wow.
Well, I'm cheap. I only have $1. I'm just happy to be a Rotarian, and I was happy to be able to do a double shift on Saturday and work both events. It just, just warms your heart.
Thank you. Mr. President.
Thank you. Oh, I'm set. I'm wired. So for the record, I heard that Sheriff Dave has several ensembles that may work for Diane's challenge. So just rumor that I heard through police circles.
No, I'm telling you, I'm going to do it.
I believe he will do it. So anyway, my 5 go first to everybody who helped out with blessing bags. That was really a fun event. I mean, there was a lot of teasing going on as we were assembling the bags. It was really a great way to start Saturday. And then everybody who helped out on the beer event, same thing. We have so much fun with these public service projects. Really enjoyed that. Speaking of the beer event, if you open up your bulletin again, and right next to that picture of Paul, look at how intently Randy is trying to balance 2 beers on that tray. I think that's where the happy buck in and of itself, because it was a very difficult task for him to handle. And then the rest of my happy bucks are just for all of you. This is such an outstanding club. It's been a fun year, and only a few weeks left to go. But thank you all for everything that you've done over the course of the last year. Give yourself a round of applause. So with that, I'm going to hand this to Barb and Mr. Peterson. Would you like to introduce our speaker?
I'd be a privilege to introduce our speaker. Our speaker today is the very tolerant Chief Jerry Rhodes. 14 years ago, I moved into his neighborhood, and he's still there. So we've asked him to speak to us. Tell you a little about him. He's the chief for 43 years of fire service, 22 years as fire chief of Cunningham, and now I'm sure he's going to tell you about the new South Metro District. Now, on the bio here, there's a whole bunch of other stuff, and he said to me, if I read all this off to you, he's leaving. So I'm going to tell you, very distinguished gentlemen, please welcome Chief Jerry Rhodes.
So are you expecting information? Are you expecting improv? Humor?
Yeah. Inspiration.
Inspiration. Because improv, I got asked, what slides am I going to show you today? What subject matter am I going to force you through? How can a child raised by a Kiwanian have fun with Rotarians?
You've seen the light.
So with that, remember, like Rotary, the fire service is a service organization. So what do you want to talk about? It's not what we want to push out. What do you want to know about?
The inner workings. I don't know how the fire department works.
I can answer that, and I can tell you how to mess with it too. Remember, Father was a Methodist minister and taught philosophy and world religions. Mother was a statistician. So I screw with things by the numbers so I can tell you how to mess with the inner workings. What else?
How much does a fire engine cost?
Okay, I'm going over to my mom's side for that one. What else do you want to know? All the above. Can do. What else?
The family aspect. How interactions, they're very much a family.
And think about that in concentric circles. Your immediate family, the family that you've been forced into, and the fire service family. Let's start off with the fact that we don't hire normal people. If this building were to catch on fire, what would all of you do? Okay, what do the people I work with do? And they're kind of happy about it. So we're from the largest dysfunctional family in the world, and I'll explain that more. Anything else you want to know about?
The long-term effects of the chemicals that are present in the fires and how they're impacting the health of your firefighters.
Just think about when I was 16 years old before I became a firefighter, I was normal, just like you. Does that explain all the long-term effects? What else? I'll answer both of those, and then you're going to go, holy buckets. But, yeah.
What's the leading cause of fire in this area? Home fires, business fires.
Now, do you want the PC answer, or do you want the Jerry Rhodes answer?
Jerry Rhodes.
You missed your physics class! Or you could say stupidity. Without people making bad decisions, I'd be out of a job. So one of your tasks in life is to put me out of a job.
What are ways that the community can support you guys?
Put us out of a job.
You mentioned earlier that you spend more time on the medical side rather than the firefighting side. Speak to that.
Will do.
Could you talk about the centralization of all the fire? I understand, I'm not sure that South Metro is in this, but there's this centralization now of the call center for fire and police.
Yes.
And all emergency, and it's, well, I have a neighbor who's going, it's a really, really rough job for him in that situation. But anyway, comment about all that.
I'll be happy to. So what you've just done is you've lined up about the next 6 hours. Not a problem. I don't have 6 hours, do I, boss? Okay. So, and John knows, I can talk forever. And by the way, it was John that allows me to still live in his neighborhood because he's there a lot more than I am. All right, so let's talk about a couple of quick things. Inner workings, fire service, paramilitary organization. Structure, we're governed either by a municipality or a fire district. South Metro Fire is a fire district, so you elect the people that you want to represent and run that governmental body. We're taking dollars out of your pocket through your homeowners' revenues, the levies that we put there, and we are kind of in that situation where, although we're going to talk about the expense of running a fire service, we're doing whatever we can to bring those mill levies down. The people in the east end of Centennial, over the next couple of years, their mill levy is actually going to drop by almost 5 mills because we've worked and strived to figure out ways to get the overall costs down or to balance it. Many of you know about Tabor, you know about the Gallagher Amendment, and you also have to be very supportive of your commercial entities
because the way the legislature has set up the balance, it's not really a balance. Our commercial entities pay for the bulk of these services, but it's also on the homeowners as well. So it's incumbent upon us to do everything possible to bring those down, not up. I know that's counterintuitive. Government lowering taxes, that's weird, but we're working on that. So we're just like any other business, other than the psychos that we employ. So think about it. We've got a finance director. We've got an chief HR specialist. We have the CEO, our fire chief, Bob Baker. And we have divisions that do different things. Mine is entertainment and shooting the bull. And they pay me handsomely for that. But we have the operations division that is what you see the most of, the firefighters going out on fire and medical calls. We have the fire marshal's office as a division. Prevent fires, make sure buildings are up to code, make sure we do not have unsafe situations for people. Community services. My task in life is to connect 500,000 people with their fire department and their fire department with the 500,000 people they work for. Fleet services, logistics, all the things that it takes to keep a fire department running. Right now we have about 400 employees and 20 fire stations. By this time next year we'll have over 600 employees and 30 fire stations, with 2 more coming out of the ground shortly after that. So we have to have building construction. We have to have communications. We have to have all the components it takes to make that service run. So that's kind of the inner workings. And being an old guy, being a chief officer, these kids are so silly, they actually treat me with some respect. In our system, they don't understand yet that the fire chief and the division chiefs are there to support what they do. We're not in charge of them. We support them. And once you understand that basic concept, then you can figure out how they can all take care of all of us as citizens. Okay. Part of that finance side. That fire engine, right around $600,000, $625,000, and those prices don't ever go down. The aerial, that's about $1.2 million, $1.3 million. So we just don't buy as many of those. But remember, we're trying to get about 10 to 15 years of frontline service out of those trucks. When I started a little over 4 decades ago, we got 20 years of frontline service and another 10 years of reserve service. But with our new fire trucks, remember the majority of them, between the engine, the transmission, a lot of the working parts, there are 5+ computer systems in those trucks. A lot of the hardware does not break down, but the software does not give us as much longevity for these very expensive trucks as we used to have. So it costs us a lot of money. The ambulances, fully equipped, right at about $160,000. And so the cardiac monitor, $12,000 to $14,000. The air packs that we wear, another $1,500 per unit. But remember, one of the reasons why we're consolidating components is so we can purchase in mass. Because what does that do for you? You bet. I also represent the North Central Homeland Security region for you. I get to chair their meetings, which means the only reason I'm the chair is they force me to stay awake through the entire meeting. But with that, Remember, the 10 counties of the Metro Denver area, we've got them working together. So when we make large purchases, we do it in mass. We did all of our air packs across the entire metro area standardized on one system. That drove the cost per unit down by almost 40% per unit. What I'm trying to, every fire department in virtually North America buys fire trucks. And they all want their fire truck the same way. You should be outraged. Do you know how damn expensive that is? I want this and that and I want more of that and none of that. You have to re-engineer every truck. No, one engineering, one style, don't care what color you paint it. But if we only have to engineer one style of truck and we can produce 25, 30 of those, I can guarantee you at least $100,000 off that $600,000 truck per unit. If we'll standardize on a design for a short period, even 2 to 3 years, and purchase that same thing, the manufacturer actually makes more money. Because think about it, buying axles, buying frames, engines, I want 30 of those. They get a price break. The workers building the fire trucks build the same exact truck over and over and over. They get faster at it. They get better at it. The truck you want to get is truck 25 on the line. Statistically, the best built truck of the group. They've figured out all their mistakes, and they're not rushing on that last 5. But that's how we start driving prices down, is to control what's going out. And a lot of times, instead of buying low bid, buy quality. Something that's proven, something that's going to last, and wherever possible, stay away from whims. We love bells and whistles. We are large children that have never grown up. Hence, we have fire trucks for toys. But those are the components that you want to look at to manage your business. Now, do we expect the firefighters to adopt that whole philosophy? To an extent. But what is their job? Back to the inner workings. Their job is service delivery. Put the fire out. Save the person. Last night at, I think about 10 o'clock, service delivery was going on. It's a wide range. 3 medicals going on at the same time. A young teenager that tried to commit suicide. And getting a small golden retriever out of a drainage storm drain. That's a variety. Now, luckily, we weren't fighting any fires last night. Thank you very much. We did all that on Friday. We started off at 6:30 in the morning with an apartment house fire, and of course ended up on Friday evening with the 3 houses on fire in Littleton. Just quite the day. And then, of course, we were enjoying not only the Centennial event on Saturday, where we had our people out doing lots of training and trying to mold those little minds. No, that fire competition course was not to keep them safe. It was to get them thinking about coming to work for us. We plant the seeds with 5- and 6-year-olds. We go very deep into the community. And last night, we were at the iftar, invited over for the iftar dinner at the Colorado Muslim Society. And you would think, breaking fast, getting towards the end of Ramadan, enjoying each other's company. No, we were recruiting. Hi, how are you? You look like you might want to be in the fire service. Let's talk.
I'll date a fireman that I would want to be.
She loves running right up to the edge, but she's not crazy enough to jump over. Okay. Diane, that's just the way it is. But when we consolidate communications,
We've got a couple of centers across the metro area where we've consolidated our communications. In Jefferson County, it's called JEFCOM, and it is a police-fire consolidation of communications. Here in Centennial, we have Dave Walsher's group, who does the dispatching for the majority of the law enforcement agencies, and our group called METCOM that does the dispatching for the majority of the fire agencies. JEFCOM wants a consolidated group. Douglas County started with that concept, kept their dispatchers together, but there's a fire side and there's a law enforcement side. Because remember, Dave Walsher needs heroes too, right? And do you know why he doesn't smile all the time, but your firefighters do? 5 points. If he would have gotten 5 more points on the civil service exam, he too could have been a firefighter. Dave chose to leave early. He knows I'm going to mess with him. We love him dearly. He's been a great sheriff. But the bottom line is, we appreciate heroes too. A few nights ago, we had a lady come to one of our fire stations. She was having issues, had a bunch of big rocks in her hand, and she wanted to destroy the fire station and the firefighters. Remember, sometimes people take actions that are hard to explain. But it was very clear when I got there that, because I had pulled in right before law enforcement did, this was a person who is ill. And so when I went through my training at University of Colorado decades ago, bottom line is, sometimes when people are ill, especially when it's a psychological event, we are not to participate in their fantasies. Take a crazy firefighter, we fit right into their crazy fantasies. And we started a dialogue. She put the rocks down. We found out a base of what was going on. She was lost. She was only a few blocks from her apartment, but she was lost. So she was unhappy. She was thrashing out. I still like the idea of her picture being on the $100 bill, though. Would have replaced my cousin, but, you know, that's all right. He's been on there a long time, so heck with him. But as soon as we got an Aurora police officer to the station, recognized her right away, got her home. No criminal charges. It's not something that could have been fixed at an emergency department in a 5-hour visit. It's a long-term thing where we need to work with Arapahoe County Health, Human Services, and get people the help they need. So those are the kind of things that we do. And of course, we've got crews up in the mountains right now at fires. You may have seen on the news on Sunday, we had crews in Bennett, Colorado on fires. So that's a lot of what we do. Now, what else have we not covered?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I used to be a fire chief in Snowman, and I always never answered the question, well, why do you get all that gear and all you're doing is, I mean, they came to my house because my neighbor had seen my sprinkler head explode.
Uh-huh.
Why? And they were just across the street. I happened to be living near the fire station. Why do they put all that gear on something that's not a fire?
I can answer that, but you have to answer first. Was this Charlie?
Is this Charlie?
Cowan?
The fire person in Snowman? No, it's Art Bowler.
Thank you. Okay, just remember, largest dysfunctional family in the world. We all know each other. And the reason why they put on the bunker gear to come to that call, they didn't want to show you that they were also wearing tutus. Normally, depending on the time of day, they're either in a Class B uniform, or if they're working out, if they're training, etc., we allow them to wear shorts and t-shirts so they can stay cool. So normally when they go on a call, they would at least put on their bunker pants. And remember, in snowmass, depending on the time of year, it's also our environmental wear. Not only can it repel the heat, but it keeps you really warm when we're out on, well, I-70 and working accidents and whatnot. The bunker gear is designed to keep your internal environment as balanced as possible. But that's why they wear it, and you may have dated them long enough. Do they look cool when they're in their bunker gear?
You look cool when you're in the calendar.
Well, and that's okay, because we appreciate all those sales, because we sponsor all of our fundraising goes to the burn center at Children's Hospital. So the men and women who are in that calendar, and you can see why I've never been invited to be in that calendar, but the bottom line is,
We raise a lot of money.
absolutely. And, of course, my favorite calendar stories are the guys that go, I'm going to get to see a lot of checks. All right, you're young and you're stupid. Not everybody in that crowd is going to be a female that longs for you. And then the women go, ha ha ha, stop. Not every woman in that crowd is looking for the guys. Gang, it's a big world out there. Just understand, a lot of people have a lot of different thought process, and you're just there to take care of all. That's it.
First of all, thank you for your service. And I had an experience with my wife one time where she stuck her finger in a little can in my kid's room, and it kind of did the little thing, and she was freaking out. And the firemen showed up and took care of her, took care of me. So you never know what you need the service for. But my question was, maybe we all love stories. Can you put you on the spot here? I'd like to think about your most, I don't know if I would use the word intense, but your experience of going into a fire, going into a building, whatever it may be. I always think about what's going on in a fireman's mind, the protocol. They have certain procedures. Maybe you can relate emotionally and all that happened maybe on one of your stories.
Yeah, basic things. 3-story apartment complex, heavy fire involvement when we pull up. We're on the 2nd floor searching. Remember, smoke conditions. Think about coming into this room with all these tables and you can't see a thing. Now, this is before we had thermal imagers. Now, our new firefighters go, there was life before thermal imagers, but everything was tactile. You searched the entire room with your partners, but it was all by touch. So you're going through, the basic layouts of apartments. You're trying to get to the bedroom first, because at 6 o'clock in the morning or 4 in the morning, whenever it was, that's probably where the people are going to be. So we made it back to the bedroom, and as we were coming down the hallway towards the living room, it felt like the floor was kind of sagging on us a little bit. But we searched that apartment. My partner and I went up to the 3rd floor, and this is where you say those really intense, unbelievably deep things. He opened a door, started in, feeling the floor, and he goes, there's no floor in here. Don't go in there. Yeah, that was a brilliant statement. But a lot of the floor had burned out already, so we searched what we could and we got back out again. And so, a lot of times you kind of wonder, am I going to die or not? Or when you get down and you're changing out air bottles, and the captain says, hey, I want you to come over here. And he opens up the garage door underneath the apartment you just searched on the 2nd floor, and he points over, and the only thing between the garage and that 2nd floor apartment was what was left of the carpet in that hallway. That's what we were walking on as we came out. I love those carpet installers. Whoever was down on that kneeler kicking that carpet tight saved our lives. I love carpet installers. The Century Theater. You know, we pull up. We don't know if we've got multiple shooters or one. That hasn't been figured out yet. Went over to the command post, get my assignment, and and admittedly, in the east part of town, we call it a Chuck E. Cheese face, because some of my senior compadres, we were all at Chuck E. Cheese when that shooting occurred. And then it's the same thing when we were at Columbine and some of the other areas, because unfortunately, our area has had more mass shootings per capita than any other part of the United States. So unfortunately, we're very experienced at it. Got over to the Century Theater, report to the command post. The incident commander clearly had a Chuck E. Cheese face. He knew the severity of what was happening inside that theater. He knew the number of souls that had already been transported. What do you think he needed first? A hug. Just a hug. And then you get back to those really wise things. The young kids over there with us, we've got SWAT officers with their guns pointed at the rooftops because we don't know if we're going to have snipers, whatever. And he goes, well, what do we do if they start shooting at us? And that's when the old salts go, well, if the first one hits you, you don't have to worry about it. And I don't know what you're going to do, but Jerry and I are going to be under the truck before he can chamber the second round. You know, what do you tell a young kid who feels like he's going to die in the next few moments? Yeah, whatever. Do your job. Because that's what we're there for. So the humor gets a little twisted once in a while. You work hard to keep people as balanced as possible. They were a bubble off when we hired them. We want to keep them a bubble off, otherwise they don't do us any good. But if they go too far one direction or the other, that's a problem. So we spend a lot of time with their physical and their mental health. And trust me, it's not because I like them. I don't. But do you know how much damn money it costs to train them? Refit them with bunker gear? Give them experience? If you don't take good care and feeding of your animals, you get no ROI. Just that simple. Trust me, I don't like them. But I take good care of them because I want a lot of work out of them. Does that kind of help?
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
So remember, just totally nuts.
Yeah, I know some police officers, and you guys as a group have like I always told you guys, because there are some people I know, because you guys see the seedy and the bad side of life, and the good, but it's the seedy part that keeps you guys screwed up. You guys got put there.
I almost left the business. I worked in Glendale for 16 years. Remember, back in the 70s, the mean age of Glendale was right at 19 to 20 years old in all those apartment buildings. Self-inflicted gunshot wounds to the head, unfortunately, were too common, and it's a really ugly wound, and I almost left the business because of that. So, one, I learned the value of kind of working together. We talk a lot, usually not when we're out at the scene. We hold it until we get back to the firehouse. We talk with each other, so there's a lot of peer counseling going on. And we found out, let's get our employee assistance program up and running right away. Employee assistance programs are really good for marital issues, financial issues, a lot of general life issues. But I won't ask who in the room has the Maserati that's parked out in the parking lot. One of you do. But would you take that Maserati to a Ford mechanic? We do not take our people to a standard psychologist. We take our people to a psychologist or a group that specializes in what we do. For police and fire, one of the leaders in the area is John Nicoletti. John understands how to tune us back up. John understands when we're too far gone and we need to stop inflicting mental wounds on people. But his ability to, and his group, and the psychologists that we retain to work with our folks are really good at getting our people balanced, online, doing exactly what they need to do, and have a healthy life at home. Now, let's go even farther back. Cousins started a fire department in 1739. I'll throw in more happy bucks for whoever can figure out who my cousin is. Yes, actually. Okay, that's going to cost me. Hey, I never knew the guy, so what the heck? I just related to him. But when Ben Franklin was recruiting firefighters for a volunteer hose company, essentially what he was trying to recruit were the equivalent of the modern day ADHD high school student. Now, how many of you have experience with kids with ADHD? Okay, let me ask you a couple of questions and you tell me if this is true or not. One, intelligence is not the problem. They are intelligent. Two, if you leave them to their own devices, you have more work and cleanup to do. But if they are challenged, if they are doing multiple things, if you are almost overloading them with different components, they're actually comfortable. And, this is one of my favorites, when they have totally torqued you off and you are nose to nose with them, screaming at them, they are the most calm they ever are because they're at total sensory overload and they're just mellow. Now, take that exact psychological profile, and by the way, do kids with true ADHD, do they have any fear or do they understand consequences? Just not part of the equation. So, take a person, a male or a female like that, train them at a variety of different things. EMS, fire, fire prevention, structural fire, wildland fire, helicopter operations, repelling, hazardous materials. Have we just kept them busy? And the training has to go on every day for part of the day. Otherwise, what will they do? Get in trouble. So you train them, you keep moving, and you keep things working with them constantly. Then when it comes time to run into a burning building, again, do they understand consequences? Yeah, let's go. Now, we do remember, I don't like them, right? But I need them. So we also put them with a command officer who's probably a recovering ADHD kid who knows when to pull them back forcefully to keep them out of trouble, keep them from being inside a building when it collapses. A fire officer who actually finished his physics class and knows that gravity works. Burn the support out of the building falls down. For our truck company personnel, Mongo, roof up, good. Roof down, bad. Mongo upright, good. Mongo squished, bad. Those are truck company people. They eat until they're sleepy, they sleep until they're hungry, and then they go in and tear the heck out of your building, your house, and you thank them for it. We are not the only psychos in this room. But when you think about those type of personalities, if you can get a balance of people working for you that will do what appears to be an impossible task to some, impossible is just not usually part of the vocabulary of an ADHD person. They don't understand that. So you can get them to do amazing things, but you have to constantly balance that with making sure that they don't put themselves in peril. Because they're certainly eager, very wise, they understand more. We can just do data dumps on them constantly, and they do very well. So that's a little bit of the psychology. Gang, if you ever want to know more, last one, because I understand the cue, agencies coming together. Yes, it is a trend across the United States. South Metro Fire is the combination of Cherry Hills Fire, Parker Fire, Castlewood Fire, Levere's Fire, Cunningham Fire, and at the end of this year will be Littleton Fire Rescue. We are one of the leading groups on how to bring agencies together and take care of the people that we work for, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I've got a couple of jobs for you real quick, so don't run off.
Sir.
First off, we donate books to a small charter school up in North Denver, and we put a book plate in the books that we donate. So there's a facsimile of one. We do it in your honor, so keep that. And now we also have a fully legal lottery, and we're going to have you draw a lucky number for somebody.
Now, have you already pre-mixed? Because
I've pre-mixed.
All right, then we're doing it again.
Yep.
And
the last three digits are?
The last three digits are. Now I'm lexistic, so no, I'm just kidding. 366.
Oh, yeah,
A match.
Look at that, huh? Oh, recount.
Is John a winner this week or not?
John's always a winner. Chief, thank you very much.
You bet.
No.
All right.
Hold it high, hold it high.
You have to hold it very high.
I can do that.
Blue.
Come on. Make one.
They all feel the same.
Clear.
Come on, blue.
Blue. Come on.
Oh. Hot rolls over. So could you all please stand and join us in the four-way test? For all we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Do good and have fun.